Hello and welcome to the BUSR
Is it
on
just me
Assetto
that
Corsa.
Doomskull's
This
mic
is
is cutting in
round
and out really badly?
number 2. We are coming from the Slovakia Ring here. I'm hoping someone's hearing this out on the wide world of the internet. If you are, you're very welcome here. I've got two commentators with me. I've got Slam and Dirk. Hello guys, how are you? Slam, if you want to go first.
Hello.
Hello. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Looking forward to this race. We've got a decent sized entry list here of Audis around a track that, as we established at the end of last week's stream, absolutely nobody knows. They all just went, yeah, I've not looked at it yet. Some people didn't, well, I myself didn't know it existed until last week. I spotted it in a magazine. So yeah, it should be interesting. Dirk, are you there as well?
Yep, I am here. Just off the back of trying to get everything set up in a very much a rush. I'm very excited to see what this series has to offer. It's always cool seeing a spec series, especially in Assetto Corsa. There's such an awesome handling model, tracks that you never really get to see, and cars that maybe some people don't know or aren't used to. So it's going to give our drivers a really solid challenge, and I'm really excited to see what the drivers have in store for us today.
Absolutely, yeah. So we've got qualifying coming up imminently, which is followed by two different races, and the second race is a reverse grid race, which therefore means chaos is turned up to 11. Each of the races 20 minutes, 15 minutes or so for qualifying. We'll join that stream pretty soon. So guys, who do you think? You think it's going to be a repeat of last week's winners, or do you think we'll see even more chaos?
I think that the Slovakia Ring winning such a good track. I know the track. It's a neighboring country. Well, a neighboring country to me. It's an amazing track. The 3.7 kilometers can definitely make a choice for the drivers to dive bomb into any corner they want, or well, just cause carnage in general. So it all depends on the drivers and how dirty or clean they want to race.
Well, if it's based on last week, I think light contact may be the order of the day, even though we never hope for crashes. I'm sure we'll see someone try and eat a tyre wall or go off on the grass. Dirk, have you got anything to add before we join over to qualifying?
I mean, all the cars are basically exactly the same. I'm not sure if it is a fixed setup series, but the cars are about as close as I can get, as you can get them. So I think with all drivers on a relatively equal footing, I think it's going to be really, really exciting to see just how close the grid is and how each of the drivers can really maximize the car.
I think there is setup changes allowed, just not a lot of them, because of course these are, as you said, spec cars, and they're also not exactly highbrow race cars. They're Audis at the end of the day. They're not Formula 1 cars or GT3 cars. But yeah, qualifying will be starting shortly. Like I said, there are 3 classes in this race. We've got the student class, the alumni class, and the open class. Of course, if you yourself want to join in, come and find us on Grid Finder, come and find us on Discord, see if you can sign up for a race, and I'm sure we'll find a class that suits you and your position. Yeah. Anything else to add, guys, while we wait for the first session to come out?
I have no words as well. Let's get into it.
Nothing comes to mind. Yeah, I'm just excited to see what our drivers can put down.
Assuming there's no technical difficulties, qualifying will be coming up very, very imminently, probably. Evidently not. We'll keep talking. Well, yeah.
Let's go podcast.
So I did some research before the first race, and I'll recite off the list of facts I've got written down here. These is Audi TT Cup car spec racing. These are all they're all identical cars with setup changes, about 300 horsepower, about 400 newton meters of torque if you prefer it in metric measurements, and then about 1.1 tons, so about 2,300, 2,400 pounds if you prefer your measurements wrong. Front wheel drive, inline 4 turbo engine based on a Volkswagen motor up the front, 6-speed paddle gearbox. These things are touring cars through and through, but they're Audi TT, so they don't have that familiar hatchback shape. But yeah, it should be close racing, especially with the front wheel drive.
Yeah, it's a base car in the Assetto Corsa game, so hopefully we'll see a modded track as the Slovakia and can bring some changes and some weird physics here and there. But
yeah, definitely. Yeah, depends how well it's been modelled. I'm sure it's a good model, but it's not an original game. What happens, of course, we go to a wide variety of tracks in this series. I think it's Lime Rock Park's coming up soon, some more familiar ones towards the end, like Donington Park. So if you want to jump in for just a single round entry, you can. Here we go, cars on circuit in Slovakia.
Here we go, finally to the Slovakia Ring. A beautiful track in my opinion. I like it a lot for the times I've driven it. So we'll definitely see some interesting things here tonight.
Definitely. And just a word before we get into some serious fast laps, this is a series that does run balance of performance. We have got success penalties, so your winning drivers are running extra weight depending on their class and their positions. So Josh Woolley is running 75 extra kilos, Ash Alvey running 57, Craig Story running 15, James White, a car we're currently watching now, running 39, 21 kilos on board Tom, 66 on board Aidan Larson, Ryan Dobbingley running 48, and Archie O'Leary running 27. So a decent chunk of weight there. 75 kilos for Josh Woolley is a lot of weight on a car that is only 1 and a bit tons. How do you think that'll affect the race, guys?
I mean, with a heavier car, they're going to be a lot more tricky to chuck around the corners. I mean, naturally, these cars, you just kind of want to throw them into the corners and just keep them as high momentum as possible, scrubbing off as little speed as you can through the corners. But with the added weight, the cars might end up being a bit of a handful, or maybe feeling a little bit sluggish on the corner exit. Just generally, they'll lose a tad of bit of performance kind of throughout the lap, which I guess is mitigated by some drivers' driving styles or just general pace. The whole idea of the success penalties is to bring the higher level drivers kind of down to kind of equalize the playing field and let everyone kind of have a chance of performing well. So even if you're slow like me, you might have a chance of finishing well if you can benefit from this balance of performance. So yeah, I'm excited to see how these drivers can cope with the additional ballast they've been given.
Well, it seems like we're going on a hot lap now. Sorry. With one of our drivers now into 6th gear into turn 1, breaking out of the 50-meter board into 4th gear. It's a really nice bend for the car. Again, 5th, 6th, going up the hill. Then there will be a small turn down after the hill. 6th, not 6th, still going into 5th. Again, a right-hander, as I said, flat out, completely fine in this car. They go once again over the hill. It's a lot of artificial elevation on this track, as you will see. Breaking a hard braking zone into turn 3. Again, a right-hander. So 4th, now going into 5th. No, still 4th. But yeah, there are a lot of S's on the track, a lot of hairprints, so a lot of overtaking points, a lot of points where you can follow the other cars. As now he's getting quite close to the grass and the gravel there. It seems like to beat the line. Getting around 6th. Now turn 7 into turn 8, which is one of the slowest corners on the entire track. And yeah, like half a lap already gone, and you see main characteristics of the track. It's mostly flat, some basic elevation, long winding corners, mid-speed corners, and some low-speed corners, but they are at the minimum, as you see.
Yeah, it's an incredibly varied track, lots of different types of corners, and I did do some research beforehand into the circuit, and on some of those hills, at least with, well, maybe not with Audi TTs, but with full spec GT3 cars, they do catch front air there, so the front wheels are going to be light coming over those hills. So we better hope that there's no, emergency manoeuvres of the cars coming over the hill now. We take down into the hard braking into the right-hand corner now, coming up towards the end of the lap now. Powering down what is the home straight here for this lap. No idea what the timings are, but I'm sure we'll see soon. Yeah, powering onto the home straight through the left, fast left, completely flat in these cars and most cars, and across the line there for one of our first flying laps of the session. That was, I believe that was Aidan Larson who set that lap there. Was very good last time out, and we expect strong success from him. But yeah, a lovely track with lots of elevation changes, even if they are more artificial.
Well, definitely qualifying is a little bit harder without the tower that we normally have, but it's good enough for us now as Kenyak has his server personal best. So who is currently leading the charge is a mystery to us.
We're just working on that. There's been, again, it's a new game. There's still some teething to get on. But yeah, we'll figure it out eventually. Here we are on board with Adam Ben now. Lovely shot of the front wheel there, doing all of the heavy work around these corners. Of course, it handles all of the power front wheel drive, handles the majority of the braking as is natural in race cars, and handles all of the turning as these are standard road car tyre systems. And there we go, we have a timing chart now. He's Daubigny at the front, just trying to get some laps in there for everybody else behind.
Yeah, with the timing chart now you see even the gaps. 0.4 is a pretty big gap for qualifying. Well, just qualifying. In a race it will be quite small, but for qualifying almost half a second faster. What do you think of that? Do you think it will make some interesting choices for the drivers on how they'll change the setups, or do you think it won't affect anything and the drivers will just go straight into the race and try to have fun?
As we saw last week, qualifying pace is not everything. We saw some guys qualify beyond fourth by the end of the first lap, especially in that reverse grid race. Pole means nothing, so it may be slightly advantageous to start further behind, get a slipstream and make a move on lap 1, but 0.4 of a second is a big gap there for Daubigny up front. We'll have to see how that evolves further on.
Definitely. I mean, with the amount of different drivers on the track, and the amount of practice that they've probably had to put in to learning this track, which I would assume is completely new to everyone. I know I'd never heard of this track up until glancing at the calendar. So I think the drivers who have probably put more time into practice and who are naturally quicker in these sorts of cars are probably going to pull out times that are much, much better. There we go, there's our timing tower. As that gap now between the first and second has just been reduced to a quarter of a second, which, I mean, it's still quite a large gap, but it is shrinking. But yeah, as you mentioned before, quali pace isn't everything, as we've seen from lots of other racing series. People who only hot lap tend to not perform as well in the race, as they don't consider the impact on the car that the extra fuel has, which in most cases will make it feel a bit sluggish, as we see Maitland going a little wide, taking a bit of a spin in the gravel, and that's his lap over. He's going to have to reset and go back again for another try. We've got Charlotte Perkins here in the number 105 Audi, who's going to be flying through to try and set their lap. They're about 2 seconds off of pole position now. And they're going to really be putting their foot down through these corners as they go over the hill. I'd like to compare it to that uphill section in Nürburgring where the car kind of jumps a little bit. I don't know if the Audis are quick enough to maybe get that jump, but the car will definitely feel a little bit light, so hopefully there's not going to be any overtaking that people try doing while they're going over the hill, because I know they'll probably have to pit for new trousers if they attempt to move like that.
Absolutely, yeah. We've seen lots of personal bests coming through recently. Of course, these are all drivers' first or second laps. They're just starting to get into the groove now, find where the car's at, find where it's happy, find where the setup works for them. A little bit wide there for the 105 car. Probably all right, might be track limits. I'm not quite sure where they are at this circuit. I know some circuits are brutal on them, and some just kind of have the attitude of if you run off, that's your own fault, and we don't really get it. 10 minutes to go in qualifying. Now we are over halfway through it, well, nearly halfway through it, sorry. Here we're still on board with the number 8 of Perkins. 2 and a bit seconds down, but of course, faster laps will be following from all drivers on all sides.
Yeah, definitely. Most of the time when I'm thinking about track limits, I just assume that it extends to the curb, but I know that there are some tracks where if you even look at the white line incorrectly, you get, publicly boiled. But, it does depend on a track-by-track basis, and Assetto Corsa, from my experience, tends to be on the more lenient side with track limits, but modded tracks can vary, of course, so our drivers are going to try and really maximize how much space on the track they can use up. As it looks like Dabigne has opened up that gap at the front to over half a second between themselves and Maitland in P2. We're on board now with Maitland in the number 42. Kind of reminds me of the old McLaren livery from the good old F1 days, that striking orange and blue colour scheme. Big fan of that. As he's going to go through for another lap. Might have invalidated the previous one. Actually, I lie, it was an outlap after that little excursion to the gravel. As Aidan Larson goes up into P2 by about 0.4 of a second off of Dabigne, just about beating Maitland by around 0.08 of a second between the two. We're on board now with Dabigne. Never mind. Okay, Ashavi in the BWT in P6 improves their time, not their position. Looking now to Hughes in the number 12 Audi, who's going to be rounding the really long corner. From my experience, corners like that feel like they go on forever. It's all about picking when you need to slam on the throttle right at the end, coming across the finish line. Can they improve their time? Looks like they did not get an improvement on that lap, so they're going to have to go again to try and improve from P7. But all of our drivers are pushing as hard as they possibly can right now.
Absolutely, yeah. This is Hughes' first race in the series. They did not start a last time out at Angle C, running about 2 seconds down on the front lot. But yeah, that gap on the front is still a monster of a gap. Larson, very successful last time out, got a win in race 1 and a podium in race 2 in the student class. They are definitely one to watch. Dabigne did even better than that in a different class, admittedly, but got 2 first-place finishes now from the Dabigne car there, as Perkins improves their lap time to move up to 6th place there, taking over from Ashavi, only 1.7 seconds down. These lap times are going to be getting faster. Charlotte here in that really quite nicely colour scheme there, blue and pink Audi, sweeping round turn 1. Lovely track respect there from the car behind to get out of the way. That's what we like to see. I mean, it's touring car racing, although there will be contact in the race. I'm sure it will be minor if at worst. I mean, they are respectful to each other. Obviously it's sim racing, but they're still respectful. They still don't want to ruin someone else's lap now. As we come to the line, Rushforth there pulling over to the side to let the blue and orange car of Maitland pass as they start another flying lap.
Yeah, the thing... Oh, sorry.
It's fine. Yeah, it's respectable racing. When there are blue flags, you get away from blue flags. You see some flashing light there from Maitland. So maybe he knows he's on stream, maybe he's listening to the stream. Well, beautiful liveries as well, that's I'm looking currently, so I'm loving the liveries all the guys have made for us to see and for them to race in.
Yeah, well, there's a wide variety of liveries on here. Some of them are just cool colour schemes, pick 2 colours you like the look of and off you go. Some of them will have personal connections to the drivers. Maybe it's the one that they have always used in their driving games and they're trying to, in their own little head, they've got their own sort of story where they're like, this is my race team, we run all sorts of cars. Some of them also are reference cars. This one, like was said earlier, looks very much like a McLaren of old, whether that's a GT3 car or a Formula 1 car. There's a car on the grid that is the BWT car of Ashavi, is a WRX car there. But yeah, this is Tom, who I think is very important in the world of Gridfinder. I'm vaguely sure he owns the whole service, so he's rather important here, down in 12th place. Not his best qualifying so far, but yeah, thank you to Gridfinder for putting this event together and for working with us as series sponsors here as he jumps into the pit lane. Evidently that lap time not good enough.
It's a shame for the Gridfinder founder. But now it's Just Mang, sorry. We'll try to find his lap as Rushford goes into 8th up to the top. Now it's Woolley who goes to the 5th position. With a very good lap time. 2:12 is a good lap time with the leaders doing 2:11 almost flat. It's something to look out for. Rushford also set a pretty good lap time. Also, from what I noticed, the track doesn't have any corner names, so let your imagination run free. It's sometimes wonderful to hear some corner names, but now going down the hill into turn 2, it's almost like a king, just full speed, even in these touring cars. It seems wild to me. Yeah, the Audi TT Cup is an amazing car for this series, well, for beginners as well, in general.
Definitely. I mean, with the size of the cars as well, they are a little bit smaller than a lot of other racing cars you'll find in other series. So it does allow for better racing for sure. So it'll be much easier for drivers to look for an overtake because these cars are not absolutely massive like some of the GT3 machines that we've seen before, or like modern F1 cars, as we see Wooly going right on straight at that corner. I think ran a couple tyres in the gravel under braking, just went straight on, lucky to avoid the barriers, but thank God for gravel traps slowing down the car before anything could happen. But they've reset to the pit lane, and they're probably only going to have maybe one more full lap to get a qualifying attempt made, as we see Larson pushing as hard as possible to try and narrow that gap at the top, with over half a second between themselves and pole. It looks like a bit of a long shot, but anything can happen in racing, and it usually does. So keep your eyes on that timing tower. We might see someone surprisingly on pole, as I think that is Dubigny pulling off to one side and slowing down. I think they've just aborted whatever lap they were on. So that'll definitely limit how many more attempts they can have trying to go to maximise their pole position. I mean, they've already got it by half a second. They are trouncing the rest of the field, but if they can make that gap any larger, if they can get a sub 2:11, I think that would be an ideal finish for them.
Definitely, a sub 2:11 is a rapid lap time around this track. You know, it's a long lap. It's not like Anglesey last weekend, where it was reasonably short, or some of the tracks we'll go to in the future, such as the Nürburgring Sprint track or even Donington Park. But it's a decently length track, as Josh Woolley now down in 6th place. He'll be hoping for more. Obviously, a star of the F1 series here at BUSR, has won races before, got podiums all the time. He's going to hoping for more. Although this is a touring car, who knows if that skills transfers? We're yet to see if there's any correlation between 1,000 horsepower Formula 1 cars and 300 horsepower Audis. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see now as we come into the last 2 and a bit minutes of qualifying there. Perkins up in 4th, new lap time of a 2:12 dead, puts them just under a second behind Daubigny in 1st.
I just wanted to continue for how Dirk said. It's not all about qualifying as well. There's a huge, and I mean a monumental rundown from the start to turn 1. And turn 1 is, let's say, flat out. Well, technically it is flat out, so anything can happen, and even with a 2nd or 4th place, you should be totally fine. It's possible that at turn 1, even Woolley or Larson, depends, anyone can be first into turn 1. So it's anyone's game, even with qualifying. Maybe actually qualifying in the lower lines, like the 2nd row or the 3rd row, might be better at this track than at the top. It all depends. It's not all a matter of qualifying. You also have to race in after all. Well, I'm repeating after all a lot. It's 1 minute to go from qualifying. Daubigny still dominating us, but the gap between Larson and Maitland just around 100 or around 200 is pretty good, so we might see Maitland improve and move to the 1st row.
Yeah, and we just saw Daubigny went faster in sector 2, so that miraculous sub 2:11 lap time could be happening here. There's a bit of traffic up ahead. Let's hope those cars can get out of the way for Daubigny, or at very least keep pace with him as he's now coming down towards the start-finish straight. Can we get into the 2:10s? I believe that is a 2:10.791. That is under the 2:11 margin. That puts him very, very, very clearly in pole position for race 1. 30 seconds of qualifying to go. Larson really the only driver. Well, I mean, Larson's 8 tenths back. It seems unlikely we're going to see that level of improvement, but who knows?
Now it depends in the race if Daubigny will show the same dominance off the track as he shows now, or if he will fail to defend from Larson. As I said, a long rundown into turn 1. anyone's game at that point. It also depends on the chaos people do. It's, remember, 20 minutes plus 1 lap. Now in the overtime for qualifying, so everybody on their out laps. Well, maybe someone on their flying lap. Seems like Ashavi now into the BWT car, going through turn 3. So we might see some improvement, but for what I'm sure, Dabini seems to have the pole position.
It would seem likely. Remember, this is not because he's got no weight penalty on board. That car is carrying an extra 48 kilos of ballast, flying under the French flag. Daubigny is doing very well. Big block of smoke there from White coming round towards the end of the lap. He's 1.1 seconds down, just looking for an improvement, really. Not really. Pole would be a bit of a stretch. 1 second down, crosses the line now to set a 1:12.4. Not an improvement there, as drivers starting to finish up and pull into the pit lane before we get onto the race that will be starting soon.
Maybe now going down the hill once again. Will we see an improvement from him now going into turn 10, turn 11? Just a small chicane type, well, more SS type part of the track. Wooly now seems to be on a flying lap as well, so might we see an improvement from these guys to maybe move up into the top 5, or do you think that our top 5 is set in stone?
I'd never count Josh Woolley out. He's got 2 podiums last time out, a second and then won the reverse grid race, so never count him out. But also, it's going to be very hard to beat Daubigny. He's 1.8 seconds back. He might be able to catch Ashavi ahead, who's under a second ahead, as he sets a new lap time there for Ashavi of 2:12.479. So that's the target that Woolley's got to beat. They've got to beat a 2:12.479 here, coming over one of the many hills here at the Slovakia Ring. Can he do it? Let's find out as you go back down the hill. Hard on the brakes, into the left. Hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it. Look at those brakes glowing. And then put the power on. We see moves all around the back there. Most of the drivers in the pit lane. This is Woolley, one of the last drivers out on circuit, coming across the sector line now to go 1 second down. Oh, well, that's not looking good from him.
Yeah, now down the last hill into the last 2 turns now in Slovakia Ring. Turn 13 now. It's all flat out. You just got the right hand corner, I'm sorry. Then into turn 14, just a small kink. It's all to the line now. It's technically a straight line and nowhere to make a mistake. Woolley improves up to the 6th position. It's his personal best.
There we go. That's the improvement he needed to get up or higher on the grid. P6 for the race for Woolley there. Lots of shuffling further down the grid now. I think that's qualifying over. Yes, it is. That is all of our drivers that have completed. We will start the racing soon. Remember, it's a 20-minute race plus 1 lap. At some tracks, plus 1 lap might only be an extra minute, but as we've just seen, 1 lap is 2 and a bit minutes. So that's going to add a whole lot more racing. So even when the clock hits 0, we've still got good chances for people to make last gasp overtakes.
Yeah, definitely the plus 1 lap suspends the races. It's I like these formats a lot, like 20 minutes plus 1 lap, 15 minutes plus 1 lap. It's always the race, and then sometimes then as well you create the tension between the drivers, and you get door-to-door or rear-to-rear battles. So it's amazing to see.
Yeah, so 20-minute races for touring cars is just perfect. Any longer and you start to lose too many cars to crashes or pit lane or whatever. So 20 minutes is what we've got. And there's 2 races, like I said, race 1, and then we reverse the grid for race 2. That's the top 10 finishers from race 1 swap round. So we may see some tactical overtakes or letting people through right at the end of race 1 just to get that pole position for race 2. But right now the drivers will be getting their cars ready, getting ready, having a drink, having a snack, getting ready for race 1, which will start imminently. Any predictions from what we've seen of qualifying?
It all depends. I haven't seen the drivers start, so depends on their reaction time, honestly. Daubigny has a great run into turn 1. It's all his. He has the apex. Well, technically he has the outside line, but he goes for the apex into turn 1 since it's a right-hander. But yeah, depends on what P2, who I already forgot who is. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Daubigny is looking like the favourite with that lap time, but it does, like we said, hot lapping is not racing. You don't have to do when you're hot lapping. It's just you and the tarmac. There's no other cars around you. There's no fuel loads or tyres really to consider. That's the big problem that Daubigny's going to have to face with quick drivers like Larson just behind. Larson was the dominant force out last time round, and only poor luck and a little bit of crashing in the reverse grid meant that he didn't win both races. So it'll be interesting to see if Larson can get past Daubigny into turn 1, turn 2, or any of the 16 turns around this track. Now, racing will be starting soon. Please don't go anywhere. But if you want to join us then next week, then come and find us on Grid Finder. Come and find us on Discord. Drop someone important looking a message and ask, and just see if you can get involved. We run other series. We also have iRacing. That's not streamed, but it's good fun. Lots of different cars, lots of different tracks, but on a different software system if you prefer that handling model. And of course, we have our headline event, the Formula One race, on a Saturday night. Come and join, come and watch the stream. Come and see some of the drivers in this series actually go over there. Cam Sale, Josh Woolley too, that spring to mind, that do both series. So there's many ways to get involved. Maybe you join the broadcast team. Maybe you're good at social media posts. Maybe you're a driver, or maybe you just enjoy watching. But thank you for being here, and we hope we can see more of you in the future getting more involved now. Race starting soon, of course. 3 classes, student, alumni and open, 3 separate winners in each, different penalty points for each. You can tell them apart by the sun strips, I think it is. The student cars have a pink one, alumni's have an American flag looking one, and the open classes are black. Yes, 2 races coming up soon.
Well, talking about F1, since you mentioned it, a hell of a race we have seen at Silverstone this week, last week technically.
Yeah, well, I mean, how can we not mention it? Nico Hulkenberg got that podium at Silverstone in Formula One. I mean, could we see a surprise podium like that today? Let's hope so. Maybe we can see someone coming in their first race in the series, because, of course, a few of our drivers here weren't participating or only joined in response to race number 1. So maybe we'll see a surprise podium like that of Hulkenberg. You never know. Let's hope it stays dry. I think it should dry at the Slovakia Ring. I'm not quite sure how Assetto Corsa.
Assetto Corsa doesn't have rain physics, just so you know.
Yeah, and I'm not sure we've modded that in either. So I think we'll be all right for rain, unless we somehow manage to break a game and introduce weather systems, which seems rather unlikely for a game.
They're paid, so you have to pay your custom shaders patch, which is a mod that turns the game beautiful, so it doesn't look like a game that's 11 years old at this point.
And we're still playing it. So what does that say about that game? 11 years on. And
it's amazing. I'm playing it for 4 years now. I have no doubts about the game. It has its quirks, but every game does. I don't have to pay a monthly subscription at least. I have to pay $10 once, and then it's good.
Yeah, I think I bought the game for about £8, and that included all of the DLC cars. I'm on Xbox, so I can't join in. Otherwise, I would definitely hop in. The base car is in the base game, though, so if you are on Xbox or PlayStation, you can jump in on the Audi, just around different tracks, see what it's like for these drivers, maybe get some practice in, and then see if you can find a way to get on a PC copy of the game and join in. But yeah, this is a PC grid, because of course with modded tracks. But yeah, a wonderful game that we're very, very happy to have on here. It's our first time running it, obviously, as you can see from the background video playing. We run Assetto Corsa competition, competizione a lot. That was the last series we had in January, February, March time, with the GT3 cars. Cam Sell doing very well in that as well. So, it'd be nice to see him back at the front, see if he can go for race wins in all 3 categories.
Yeah, also, let's talk about the overall winner, since that's the point as well. It's not just these 3 drivers, it's for the favor of the grid who wins the actual races. So we will see. And also, Assetto Corsa, since it's a game from 2014, it doesn't even support crossplay, so it doesn't matter if the game's modded or not. It's unfortunately the drivers on Xbox and PlayStation cannot join us.
That's very unfortunate. But yeah, very, very soon we're going to start on the races. We'll see the cars on the grid for the first time. Here we go. There they are. Lights on. 6 red lights, sorry, at the top of the screen there. Light out. And away they go. All of the Audis squirming there as they pull away from the line. Lots of movement around there as we see the leader coming across to block off second place. Daubigny going to try and hang it around the outside of Larson. We see the third place car. There's contact between the front row there. That is Maitland and Daubigny having contact, and Maitland takes the lead into turn 1.
As I said, a long rundown. It's anything that can happen here. Maitland now Still having the gap, but it's Zabini now trying to get the bump draft in at the turn at 2. Will it happen? Will it be the best idea for him? Seems like it will be. White now going with Larson. It's side-by-side battles here. Huge and Tom from Gridfinder. And it seems like they are still side-by-side. It's a side-by-side lead for the lead as well. Maitland versus Dabini now into turn 3. Who breaks later? Who breaks first? Maitland has the inside line for turn 3. But it's still Dabini who goes round outside of turn 3. Now into the inside line into turn 4. And gains the lead again. Maitland now tries to see a gap going round outside once again into turn 5. He goes to the ground and that's the grass, my man. Larson will now try to find an overtake. Maybe a small gap now going to the inside of turn number 5 and 6 if I'm correct. Maitland still trying to keep that second place, but it's not very close. Larson is side by side, well, not anymore, but he smelling his exhaust fumes now. It seems like White wants to join the fun as well.
Absolutely, and just remember, while all this battling is going on, Daubigny is pulling ahead. That gap already up to 2/3 of a second here. He has got had a nightmare off the line there, getting monstered by Larson, and Maitland couldn't pick which one to defend for. Was inevitably going to lose the lead, but swept back past in that beautiful move. Now, as we see that White has joined the battle, this is a four-way fight for the lead. All of the cars within near enough within a second of the lead, definitely within a second of second place. We see a car go spearing off into the gravel behind. No idea who that was, but I'm sure they're now a little bit grumpy. We're flicking back through the field here, seeing how much chaos is going on. Lots of moving cars up and down off the line. His story, and then down to Perkins at the background there. They've already lost a lot of time. They definitely had an accident out on this first lap, and then Jack_U right at the back of the pack. I'm guessing they've been off as well. If we cut back to our leaders here, Daubigny still leading Maitland at the end of lap 1. There we go, that's one lap done. All of that chaos, and we're only one lap in. Still got a whole load to go now. Will we see a move from Maitland into turn 1? No. It's a bit not quite the right corner for that kind of move, but White is sitting there in 4th place. And here's the rest of the pack. There's a move further back for a position. There we go, 13th and 14th. Story getting past just Mang. Story ahead there. Ashavi fighting between these two. He was a front runner early on. Expect good things from him, assuming he's done the practice to nail this circuit. Larson now very close to the back of Maitland as we come over the hill.
Getting very close to the gravel as well. Now going into turn 3, last of the late breakers. Whoa, we see he's really close to the gearbox of Larson. Well, the engines are in the front, whatever. But he's real close to Maitland there. He goes into turn number 4, then into turn number 5 right away. It seemed like he built up a little bit of a gap now, but he was real close into turn 3. There was some dangerous braking there. I see some movement for 12th and 14th position. Seems like Ashavi and Story now getting side by side. Who is that? That's just Mank going out into the gravel trap. What a shame. Ashavi now defending from Story, or he overtook Story, so now he has the 12th position. Very well done. That was a very good overtake. Bent is trying to overtake Tom from Gridfinder, and seems like it's working there. Tom falls down another position currently.
Evidently not Tom's day today. We know he can do well. He owns Gridfinder, one of our sponsors here at BUSR. There is 2 Gridfinder cars. This is not the right person.
This is Camille.
This is Camille. We're very sorry, Camille. Your name isn't Tom. That's Tom. There we go. Error corrected. Not quite commentators' curse, just commentators not being able to use their eyes, which is a common problem for me.
You have to have different names.
They have to have different names. It'd be really nice if they could have different names on the timing sheets. So we cut back to White here, right behind Larson. This is 3rd and 4th. White looking for that podium. It's that, well, mint turquoisey blue sniffing under the rear wing of Larson there. Lots of quick laps coming in from the drivers, already down into the 211s for the front group. Quick laps in qualifying. Evidently there's quick laps in the race. The fastest lap of the race with Daubigny with a 2:10.7. Evidently he has the pace here. White right underneath the back of Larson. A little bit of wash wide on the aero there, maybe just braking a little bit later, running all the way onto the curl. These guys will know the limits now after qualifying. Over the hill. Will White make a move soon? Just remember, Wooly is right behind them. He's come up from 6th on the grid already passed Hughes for 5th. Now, will he be able to get a chance to make an overtake now? Back up the second of these hills. Lots of hills here, add an extra level of racing and an extra level of not being able to see where you're going, which is always handy for braking points now. Hard on the brakes, White turning it in right. Last lap was a 2:11.6. A little bit down on Daubigny. Remember, we're only 2 laps in, so the race is still going to evolve now. We seem to have a front pack forming pretty handily at the front.
It would definitely seem to have that now. Story now overtakes Camille around outside into turn 3. What a move. Unfortunately, it was off camera. But yeah, that's a shame. Yeah, seems like we're building up some gaps now. 14 minutes to go into the race. That means we are 6 minutes to go. Well, 14 minutes to go, plus 1 lap. Remember that. It's still a lot of carnage. Doesn't seem like Slipstream is that influential in these cars, as we saw. White didn't gain that much time from Larson as Perkins now goes around TRM. A very good move as well.
Yeah, lots of
These
moves.
drivers a hot overtake. Ooh, that's Tom.
That is
that's
Tom.
Tom
That is
into the
genuinely
wall.
Tom.
And now
Off
it's
the
a
side
side-by-side
of
battle between Ash. No, it's not Ashby. It's Bent. And Kavya, if I'm right. There we go. Yeah, side-by-side battle here. Ashby and Bent now in at the turn number 5, 4. I don't know anymore. 2. Up the hill, down the hill again. It's just a couple of last corners now to end the 3rd lap. Racing. Ashby now tries to look onto the inside line into turn 13. Will it be his? Yes, it is. No problem at all. Ashby overtakes Ben and carries him on the outside line. But now we are going onto the main straight. It's just flat from here on out. So will we see, is the slipstream that good, or is it actually not that effective?
Yeah, as we come powering down towards turn 1, Ashby just in that pink BWT car, just ahead of Bent. Behind, you can barely see Bent as he's having a little nose up the inside, doesn't quite make the move. That red, white, black car looming large in the pink one's mirrors. This is a battle for 9th place. Remember, this is not one of the front runners, they are still out there, but these guys' battles are just as important, whether it's for the points or not. This is important for bragging rights more than anything, and as we know, bragging rights are important. And it's Grid Finder versus Grid Finder. I'm sure
Tom
they're not the
Camille.
same. There we go. Tom versus Camille. Grid Finder versus Grid Finder. The Traction car behind the
Oh, they
Grid
have
Finder
different
livery car.
names.
They have different names on the back windows, apparently. You can just about make that out above the rear windscreen. Nose to tail there with the 2 series sponsors cars for 12th and 13th place. Traction car looking for a move on the Grid Finder car. Camille looking for a move on Tom. Can't quite find the space now. Everyone seeming to calm down after that initial chaos of lap 1 with 12 minutes to go. We are nearly halfway done already.
Yeah, it doesn't seem so, but 20 minutes is quite a lot. Well, sometimes depends on how wild of a grid or how big of a grid you have. That's a pretty wide line from Tom there into turn number 8, if I'm correct. Yeah, now going into turn number 9. That was a pretty wide line, but seems like the gap is still building up. Now it's Ashby trying to attack okay, I'm not brave enough to pronounce that. Kalevala. So seems like Kalevala is in a Grid Finder car as well. Will we see a battle here now over the hill? It's a straight line towards the penultimate turn here at Slovakia Ring. Yes, amazing. We love these cameras. Ashby now going side by side into turn number 13. Will have the outside line. Will he try for a switchback? No. He goes last of the late breakers. He just sends it into the corner. Seems like Kalevala has a little bit more speed, but Ashby just with no braking at all sends it into turn 13, into turn 14 now, and dusts Kalevala on the main straight.
Lovely moves there from everyone, setting really quick lap times. Of course, now they've definitely got slipstream, but also they have to worry about defending, so that will affect lap times as we're on board here with Story looking at the back end of Ben there as we come down to turn 1, braking 6th, 5th, down into 4th, holding it around the corner, 120 kilometers an hour reading on the dashboards. We come up towards the hill. These cars in a really nice little line here, lots of pairs, not quite a DRS train because of course these cars are way too cheap, and well, they don't need DRS, they've got enough skill. They're only Audis, they don't need DRS. Oh, well, Audis in Formula 1 next year. That's a whole different topic for a different day. Story in 11th, can't yet find a way past Bent in 10th place. But, having a look on the brakes, just making the nose known. Checking, having a look, waiting for a mistake. Of course, the pressure of having a car looming quite so close behind you can get to a driver if they look in their mirrors too often or look at the wrong time.
And like the Grid Finder cars, I'm sorry, some of the Grid Finder cars are getting pretty close to each other. I'm very sorry, Dan. But now it will be a battle between the battle of the Grid Finders, Grid Finder versus Traction. Now going around the outside, that's Kalevala, another Grid Finder car into gravel. So very funny moves here But now will Camille try to do it. He uses the outside line that Tom uses very well. Now from turn 8 into turn number 9, side by side battle between the two cars. Can Camille actually have the line? Yes, he does. A very well made move, but some bumps by Tom there, and seems like Perkins will try to get into the battle now. Perkins now trying to make a move on Tom around the outside. He goes into turn number 10, and will he try it? No, he won't. It's very, very close between these three cars as well for 11th position. Perkins, now it's Tom going out the track. Well, you shouldn't do that, mate. That's not healthy for the tires. And it's Perkins who now goes through Tom into turn number 13. Will we see some good action as we switch cameras? Sorry, and Ben now fighting in turn number 13 again. And yeah, Perkins finished the move on Tom as we see on the leaderboard. And Ben will try for slipstream. Again, Dan, I'm sorry.
No, by all means, this is a chaotic race. Other people, we're gonna spot things the other one does not see. Here we see Perkins having a look up the inside. Josh Woolley's making a move for 5th place. Sorry to the back markers, not back markers, but the back path of the pack. We've got a move for 4th and 5th going on. We need to focus on this one. This is for significant points. Josh Woolley running a lot of ballast, and you have to be thinking he must be cursing his success last week with all of that ballast. Now he's trying to look up the inside, cut the inside line. Can he get round? Holding, hoping he doesn't wash wide there. White on the outside, now cuts back to the inside, return to what it was before. 4th for White, 5th for Woolley, but these two guys are very close. Larson will be looking back and thinking, good, this is keeping me clear now as these two are fighting. There's a lot of gravel off ahead. Who's in the gravel? It's Larson.
That's Larson.
Larson off in the gravel there from 3rd place. No idea what happened there, but evidently not good. That means that White is now up, Woolley up for 4th. That battle is now for a podium here. Hughes in 5th, Rushford 6th. Larson rejoins in 7th. He's got some work to do if he wants to get good points in this race.
Yeah, that's definitely a shame for Larson, and now falling down into some position, just falling like a sack of bricks there. But now Woolley will try a move. He's half a second, as I said. He gets pretty close to White. But Woolley is definitely going to look for the podium. It's 7 minutes left to go. So many more laps and many more opportunities for racing here.
Woolley is not going to give up easily here, setting quick lap times in the 2-minute 12s, 2-minute 11s if they're really pushing here. Late on the brakes, running wide for Woolley. Is he on the grass? Not quite. That was close there. He will not want to make a repeat of that move too often, otherwise he'll lose a lot of time here. As Perkins coming up on Ben, this is for 10th place. Perkins coming from the back of the grid to make up some moves here, up the inside, late on the brakes. Will we see contact? Will we not? They're clean. Ben running it nice and wide, giving the space. Lovely and respectful here. Perkins up the inside. Put the power down. Can they get down earlier? Yes, she can. Charlotte Perkins has gotten up past Ben for 10th place now. You could just see in that rearview mirror that menacing Audi headlights ablaze in 5th gear, up into 6th gear. 210 kilometers an hour plus down the main straight before you haul on the brakes for turn 1 and chuck it in, hoping the car sticks. Down to 4th gear. Perkins taking 10th.
What a move by Perkins. A very just cleared the inside line there and just stuck with it. An amazing move there. Rushford will now try to make a move for Hughes. And whoa, that seems to be a pretty big lag for Rushford. That's definitely not safe on the track.
Yeah, that is not accurate physics. Assetto Corsa, not a fault, probably an internet connection issue there somewhere. Either that or he's got a very interesting setup on his Audi. But yeah, we'll have to see what happens. He's running in 6th so far. Hopefully accidents that cause him or other people to go off. That gap now from Perkins to Bent slowly growing. Bent holding 11th, but obviously will be ruining the fact that he let Perkins past. Charlotte running up ahead. Can she catch up to Story in 9th and Nashavi in 8th? We'll have to wait and see now as we carry on forward. Ben here looking, just thinking, oh, where can I gain time? Watching, learning, on board, here we go. 4th down to 3rd gear, right the way down on the speedo there to 70 kilometers an hour. Put the power down, change up a gear, put the power down, keep it going. There's that driver just nestled in there, full strip roll cage. These are proper race cars, even though they look like Audis. TTs on the outside, they are proper race cars, full bore wings and slick cars up in 11th. Here we go, Josh Woolley, 4th place. Going, can he look around the outside as he hard on the brakes? Got the overspeed from the draft. Last of the late breakers, can he make it work? Not quite. behind, he's trying his absolute best to get past White for third place. This is now a place for the podium. It's a fight for the podium after Larsson's mistake down in 7th, who doesn't appear to have made any moves on Rushford just yet, but I'm sure he'll be trying.
Yeah, he will definitely be trying, as Wooly will now try for the 3rd position. He's very close. Seems the slipstream is finally working for him. Into turn 1 we go, side-by-side racing, Wooly and White. White in 3rd position, Wooly in 4th. He will try to switch back into turn 1. Now it works. White goes a little bit wide. There, a perfect move for Wooly. Well, perfect move. What am I saying? A mistake from White. A perfect move for Wooly, as now he gains 3rd position. Almost puts White off the track. And he claims 3rd position with a pretty monumental gap now, 0.7, 0.8, and it's just growing more and more. Also, I can confirm that Rushford does have lag spikes, and that's why it's happening. It's quite normal in Assetto Corsa, unfortunately. And you see, Xavi is getting closer to Larsson. There seems to be side by side. If our broadcast can find Xavi now gets to overtake down for Larsson. Larsson goes onto the outside line. What a move is that? He almost cut him off, man. Not very well done, as Xavi then just blocks him off the circuit. That's also not very well done.
Lots of
not in water. Whoa!
Mega
Rushford is experiencing a lot of lag there.
Definitely not ideal. Off he goes. He's taken air, has teleported. That's really not gone well. Well, something's gone wrong with that car. Larsson makes a move up the inside of Xavi, and contact puts Larsson round. This has gone from bad to worse for that guy there in that blue and white car with the AD logo on the side there. The BWT pink Audi. Well, I'm not sure if that was malicious, but it certainly wasn't clean from those two drivers. The fight for 7th and 8th now swapped round. Daubigny taken 8th place off of Xavi. Sorry, Xavi taking 7th place off Larsson. You don't really want to take 8th place when you're in 7th, but that's what he's had to do now. Brakes glowing, still pushing, still trying his best to get back to where he was before that mistake earlier. Wooly seems to be holding what he just will see as his podium position, but it was his mistake that put him off. Here we go. Not long to go now. Basically 2 minutes to go plus 1 lap. So I reckon we've got 2 laps left of this race and not a lot more.
Definitely seems like it, as Daubigny is still leading the race with 8 seconds. So it seems like hot lapping around might be the issue sometimes. Well, might be the way sometimes. But yeah, Perkins now overtakes for Story. So Charlotte is making some moves. And it seems like Assetto Corsa is doing Assetto Corsa things, as Maitland goes, Rushford goes into 2nd.
Yeah, that's definitely an error. Just forgive that. Rushford is having a lot of technical issues, not being able to connect quite properly. We'll find out where they are properly after the race is settled. They might not finish. Yeah.
It's not just Assetto, it's, not just his Wi-Fi. Assetto does this normally, even if you have a good ping, it just puts random people up sometimes.
Yeah,
I do not know why, but it's Assetto Corsa, it's a deal with it. I do not know what to say.
It has nearly perfect handling physics. Everything else is sort of an afterthought here. Story running behind Charlotte Perkins, who's done a very good job to climb up from near the back of the grid. Excellent move for that blue car. They put themselves into 2nd place for the reverse grid, because of course that will now be a consideration for Story, is that if he can stay here for the next 30 seconds on a lap, then that will be the pole position for reverse grid race 2. You've got to think about Larsson thinking about race 2 more than he's thinking about race 1.
Yeah, I definitely think that's the choice now. As also I have found Charlotte is new here tonight, so a pretty good first race for her. Currently in 9th position.
Qualifying was not a great success, but 9th position is solid points for the championship. Of course, different championships here. Student Open, alumni. There's a spare one here. Obviously, students are our primary focus, being it's university sim racing. But of course, if you're not a student or you're recently graduated, have an ask as a car just kind of wanders off in the background. Probably Rushforth again, let's be honest. White still looking at the back of Woolley. The leader has 2 laps to go, we are being told by the game. 2 laps is all White has got to close that gap up there. As we see some of the cars further down, Bent in 12th place, not being able to make any moves since overtaken by Perkins, just kind of dropping further and further and further back. Evidently not the second half of the race that Bent wanted there. The last lap time was a 2:21. That is really not a good lap. That is to 11 seconds off a pole position, so evidently an issue on the lap somewhere. Maybe we saw it and I forgot it, maybe we didn't. Putting the power down now as we come up towards the hill, up into 5th gear. The car moving around a little bit as we come over the brow of the hill. It doesn't look like it's behaving quite as he would like it to. Maybe that's just the game, maybe that's just me.
Yeah, it's well, I don't know, maybe both as well. It's a 11-year-old game at this point. You cannot expect everything from it. It's not a new AAA game with loot boxes and microtransactions, thank God.
Nope.
So just pure good racing.
You're good racing for an affordable price, assuming you have a PC that can run the game, which is a little bit less affordable. White still in 4th place, can't find a way past Woolley. That gap is growing now. You've got to be feeling for White here on the podium. Not really deservingly Larson's mistake rather than White's overtake, but even still lost out on a podium just off it in 4th place. Such a frustrating place to finish for that car. Had some success previously, of course, not a bad racer at all. Won the first race in his class and then got 4th place. This will be his second 4th place in 3 races. There's a lot of silverware just out of reach for him, but Zurek got him in the last race in class. Haven't seen him out here today, so championship maybe going more White's way with that, but
Hughes and Rushford are pretty close to each other. Well, not anymore, but they switched a couple of positions as Rushford now has his personal best, so potentially we'll see something as Dabini is on his final lap of the race.
Yeah, that lead, Dabini has checked out absolutely 12 seconds clear. That is a monumental gap for our leader with that French flag on the rear wing. He is got to be happy right now. Driven a basically perfect race after a Lando Norris-esque start. Oh, and Rushforth is in the pit lane and dropping positions fast. That is the end of his race for certain now. Larson in 7th. You've got to be thinking he's the favourite to win race 2, given he's shown he's got the pace out of, of the front group, but just had issue after issue. Contact with Ashavi put him in 7th place and no higher than that. But yeah, starting on the 2nd row of the grid there for Larson, has got to be favourite, definitely one of, if not the favourite to win the race 2. Proven race winner at Anglesey. Now he's got to do it again. Runs wide, dips a tire on the gravel. We cannot be having mistakes like that if you want to challenge for the title. Daubigny, last lap was a 2:10 0, which is an incredibly quick lap time. Well into, fastest lap of the race territory there. 13.3 second gap. This is looking effortless from him.
Yeah, it's definitely effortless. Seems like the Frenchman has got the Slovakian ring down. Well, not to its knees, but the grid for sure. 13 seconds and counting up is a huge gap. How do you even find that in a 20-minute race is outstanding to me, but now Daubigny rounding out the penultimate corner, then into King, number 14. It's Daubigny who wins the first race here at Slovakia Ring.
Absolutely
an amazing race from him, just gained the lead and ran away with it.
Yeah, and here we go, Mike in 2nd place, Mike Maitland in that McLaren livery sort of colour scheme, comes across to finish 2nd, got that podium, solid points, led for a little bit, but there's too much pace there. Here comes Woolley, winner last time out, now on the podium. There's a lot of points there for Josh Woolley, and we see this close behind between White and Hughes, but White manages to hold off for 4th place. Obviously, normal sim racing chaos over the line there. Of course, these cars can just teleport. And here we go. Charlotte Perkins, one of the movers of the race in P8. And then Story P9, one of the 2 Grid Finder named cars in P10, a long way back. Here, I'm not quite sure which one that is.
Camille.
It's Camille. It's Camille. I need to learn to read.
Camille finishes in front of Tom for round out our top 10.
There we have it. Ben coming across in 11, and there is Tom in 12th, just finishing behind. Here we go. TRM.
Kenyak and Kalavala seem to be like doing some interesting things, but TRM now rounding out the penultimate corner. Yeah, it seems like Kalevala is just to drop for some reason. Don't know why, but TRM after a quiet race, didn't hear of him that much. Finishes 13th.
Yeah, Kenjack just coming over one of the last hills on this circuit towards the end of the race again. Pretty neutral race, had an issue off the start which put them right at the back and they never really recovered. Kalevala is in the pits already, so something evidently gone wrong with his car or setup, or maybe it's to do with his game or his computer, his Wi-Fi, we just don't know. But Kenjack coming around here to finish in 14th place, a little way behind the rest of the group have already finished and will now be having their post-race snacks, having a breather, just getting ready for race 2, which is coming up shortly, so don't go anywhere now. Here we go, across the line for 14th. It leaves just Manning on 15th place, 12 seconds behind. Again, not a great race, issue filled, some damaged, very interesting colourful livery there on the side of that car to cross the line in 15th place.
Yeah, quiet race from him as well. Well, yeah, no, wait, he was in the gravel. It's not a quiet race for him. But yeah, 15th, best of the rest, I will say. Is it good enough?
Not great. But yeah, and now we will very shortly be having a video from our sponsors of this series. We couldn't make this happen without them. They are the power force behind it.
I'm kidding. Yeah.
And welcome back. Now we are ready to go racing very shortly for race 2. Like I said, and I've repeated many times because it's just that important. It's a reverse grid race. Repeat, it is a reverse grid race. That means maximum chaos will ensue. We will see the 10th place starter right at the front. People like Larson, who had a few incidents and accidents, will be starting near the front, with Dobigny right down in 10th place. That race will be coming up shortly.
Is it top 10 reversed or reverse grid?
It's just the top 10. At least that was what it was in Anglesey, so we'll assume it's the same. It's just the top 10 to avoid anybody coming right at the back and being a little bit dangerously slow. It's just the top 10, adds a little bit of chaos. Also means there's no advantage to having crashes right at the end of the race and falling right to the back. But yes, that will be getting started soon. The same number of points are applied, the same balance of performance weight is applied as the race 1. But with added levels of chaos, people like Perkins, people like Bent will be putting nearer the front. People like Dobigny and Woolley will be right at the, well, not the back, but sort of towards the middle and then the back. So yeah, it makes it an interesting race. Any predictions from you, Spitzlam?
I do not have any. I think Larson will maybe have a pretty good race now, starting more at the top than he did start at the top. He started at the top again. Hopefully he won't send it into gravel this time. So we will see. All depends on the mistakes, on how much fuel the drivers have put in, and hopefully we will see a good enough race.
Absolutely. I think it entirely depends on whether Larson can keep it clean and get through those 3 cars. I think it is ahead of him on the race start. If he can do, then it's his race to lose, and he will know that. He has done it before. He's won races, got podiums. He's an experienced driver in this Audi, and by that I mean he was here last week. Nothing more than that. It's only round 2. I'm sure we'll see more and more drivers come as we come through the rest of this 8-round season for the summer series at BUSR. But yeah, Larson looking like the favourite, at least in the commentary booth, but you cannot ignore the speed that Dobigny had.
You cannot. Even how Perkins just carved her way. It was Perkins, right? Charlotte.
Yeah, Charlotte came through from near enough the back to, I think it was 8th or 9th by the end of the race. So yeah.
Starting at the top now, I wonder how she will do, since she carved her way through the field kind of effortlessly. So I think she has some pretty good race pace for tonight.
There's definitely an option there for a move or two from her to make up very solid points. This is her first race in the series. We'll have to see if she keeps going or is this just a one-off guest entry. We might get to ask that of some of our drivers later on. But remember, if you guys want to get involved, come and find us on to come and find us on Discord. We've got other racing. We run other games as well. If you're interested in rally games, we run that in the winter. So if you prefer going sideways on gravel in a Skoda to going sideways into gravel traps in an Audi, then there's a series for you later on in the year. But yeah, race 2 coming up very, very shortly here. The driver's just getting ready, the server getting set, the grid getting built, formation laps being completed, metaphorical visors going down, 1.5 minutes roughly to race start.
Yeah. So, talking about the race start. The race start at Silverstone. Just a cut off there. Silverstone, like in its entirety, not even just the Nico podium, but the penalties, the things that happened, the monsoon that just came, which, talking about monsoon, even the World Rallycross Championship in Sweden at Hulls, if I'm right, Hulges, just had a massive rain. They had mud everywhere. For those who haven't seen, I know I shouldn't, but after a race, if you want some good racing highlights, I recommend look at the Rallycross YouTube channel. They are streaming for free as well, so it's definitely a good series to get hooked on.
Absolutely. And we've got Audis in that series. We've got Audis right here, right now. And there's Audis in F1 next year. There's Audis everywhere except for Le Mans because, well, they finished out. They kind of defeated everybody for many years. But yeah, racing coming up very, very shortly. If you want a more motorsport action, we've got F1 here on Saturdays. Doesn't require you to go anywhere. It's the same YouTube channel. Seeing this or hearing this, unless you're in a public place and someone's playing it very loudly on speakerphone, then you can find it. Here we go. Lights on. 6 red lights at the front. Here we go, lights out and away we go for the second race. Reverse grid, absolute chaos. Ash will be making moves. No idea what's going on. There's a bit of
wide in the third one now.
4 wide into turn 1. There's Audis everywhere. It's Maitland in second. Yeah. Well, the grid's just forming up. Story in second.
That's someone spinning. It's Ashavi going into gravel. I'm sorry for speaking out loud in front of you, but it's grid. Now it's Camille in the front. It's 2 more cars going out. Is that... No, that's Perkins going out. The person that we had high hopes for has gone out of the race. Well, I don't know if there's damage here, but for now she has. The Bigny now in the gravel as well. It seems like it. Larson in 4th position. White is very close to Story as well. Story is very close to grid to Camille as well. It's an all-out brawl here in Slovakia Ring. Direction, can we change the front, please?
Absolute chaos here. We see our leaders coming through now. We've got Story up in second behind. I think that's Camille, but I genuinely have no idea anymore.
Spin around. Camille up top now, and he has gone into the gravel as well. What's happening here now? White and Story push out each other. Larson now getting closer to them, and right behind them a carnage of cars as well. Hughes and Maitland now battling for 5th position. Will we see? And there's a dive bomb from Bent up into the 6th position. Up into the 5th position. A double dive bomb on 2 cars. Very well done. Now the grid find a car of Tom and Kalevala are very close to each other. The number 15 is very close. And what is happening here now? It's almost 3 wide in the turn of number 10. Kalevala will try something there, but to no avail. He pushes on and on. It's very close. A little bit of a bump there from Woolley, if I'm correct. And Maitland still maintains the 6th position. Right behind him is Hughes, Tom and Kalevala. Side by side, 3 wide into turn number 13, into the penultimate turn. Who will come out on top? Seems like it's Woolley, who just outspeeds them. White overtakes Story for 2nd position, and that's just 1 beautiful lap of Slovakia Ring.
Absolute chaos, typical touring car chaos. We saw it in Anglesey, we're seeing it again in Slovakia, and White seems to have been the person who has benefited the most from that. They started quite a lot way down the grid. If we see Mike Maitland making a move up the inside of Ben, having a look, is he going to make it stick? Yeah, later on the brakes, hooks it in, just going to not wash wide and hit the gravel to make it up into 5th place. Kalevala and Woolley having a fight over 8th and 9th in the background somewhere, but right now we're focusing on the battle for 5th and for 6th. As Woolley is still 3 wide, being hunted by the 2 identical cars. He's seeing double in his mirrors as there's absolute chaos. I mean, I cannot stress this. Reverse grid race. This is why you do touring car racing. British Touring Cars has it, and we stole. Well, I have no idea what's going on.
Kalevala lost some grip there into turn number 2. It's Dabini who goes wide, goes into the first position. As Camille loses it somewhere in turn number 3. I see Larson now pushing for the 3rd position against Story. Now it's a side-by-side battle into turn number 4. We go. It's a light right-hander now. Larson on the inside line. Will he do something? It sharpens there. Still side-by-side battling here into turn number 5. We go. And Larson gets onto the 3rd position. Now it's Maitland who will try to go Story into the wall. Seems like it's the... Well, Maitland had some fingers there. Story, that's definitely not a story you will like for sure. But now it's Larson in 3rd position. Story all the way down in last place. Again, dropping like a sack of bricks. And I see Bent and Hughes, if I'm correct. Now some side-by-side battling there. Going into the 10th turn, into turn number 11. We have to have some names for this. Why are there no names for this? But now it's some side-by-side battling into the penultimate corner. Right behind him, it's Dabini and Wooly. The Frenchman is looking to get into the top 5. Hughes now, or takes Bent into the top 5. But here comes Dabini. We'll see a move here. He drifts it and goes into the gravel. A huge mistake. Bent goes 5th, and Hughes drops like a sack of bricks once again. Wait, Hughes? Yeah, Hughes. Wasn't it Dabini as well? No, he's still there.
No, just staying on the road seems to be enough to score you very, very solid points so far. White leading from Larson. Like we said, Larson started near the front after the mistakes in race 1. If he can keep... Oh, he's gathering a move up the inside there for the pink car. Wooly having a look up the inside of Daubigny. Both of those guys front runners in race 1. Wooly won the last reverse grid race. That seems unlikely as he's down in 6th, and we're already a quarter of the way through the race. Coming over the hill, Bent is going to look in his mirrors and see, well, championship contenders, what Wooly and Daubigny behind Kalevala. They're behind Tom in the matching livery cars. They might not be actual teammates, but their liveries would suggest they are. Nose to tail for them. Battle ahead for 6th, 7th and 8th. Here we go. Daubigny having a look on the inside of Wooly. Can he make it stick? Late on the brakes. Hold it, hold it, hold it. There's that pace we saw in race 1 coming through there from Daubigny. Excellent move. Much like his move for the lead in race 1 after 1 lap. Now it is Bent, Daubigny, Wooly for P5, 6 and 7. You've got to be thinking Daubigny's going to get past soon.
Very good race now as Dabini will try to go around outside of Bent, but no, it's Wooly who found the inside line. Dabini gains a little bit too much pace, but now he has the inside line for turn number... Okay, I'm not going to say the turn numbers anymore, it's confusing now. Dabini maintains 6th position, Bent 5th, Wooly 7th, and we are all back again here. Dabini will try to send it, but he's a little bit close, too close to the inside line, and Bent makes a mistake. A little bit of rear oversteer there. Again, now into turn number 10. I definitely do remember that. Dabini tries to round outside. Now he has the inside line, but see, like Bent, the Scottish will definitely not make his position so easy as Camille goes into 4th position. Maitland up into 3rd. Dabini now, side-by-side battle, French versus Scottish. Who will win into the 13th corner? Last of the late breakers, both break at the very same time. Still has the outside line. Will he visit the gravel once again? No, he won't. But it's Dabini who makes the move round outside. Onto the main straight they go now. Dabini has the move done and dusted up into the 5th position. But Bent will definitely have slips here now. It will be side-by-side action in the 1st corner. So we will see how Dabini goes with that. Remember, Wooly is still there, lurking around those two, as Ashavi will try to overtake Kalevala. But seems like it's not Bent. Bent made a mistake in the 1st turn. What a shame.
Yep, Bent has dropped out there. Daubigny and Wooly now clear in 5th and 6th. They've got less things to worry about now, just each other really. Ashavi trying to get past Kalevala now. This is for P8 and P9. Ashavi showing he's got pace. Kalevala maybe where they haven't been for most of this event so far. Looking at the inside for Ashavi, making the move. Kalevala goes very deep on the brakes, easily sweep through there by Ashavi now in 8. Just a word on Charlotte Perkins. Went off right at the start and now up to P12. Recovering very quickly past the struggling cars behind. But Kalevala still in 9th place now. Ashavi, the filling in a sandwich full of grid finder liveried cars. Kalevala, yep, looking what gone wide onto the grass. That's not going to improve their line. Bent will have seen that and be ready to pounce as we cut back to Daubigny in 5th place, who is nose to tail with that pink liveried car of Camille ahead. Will we see a move ahead? We've got to think we might, we probably should do here. Daubigny, excellent chase cam there. Obviously not possible in real life because that's not how cars work, but it is in the game. Daubigny trying to go around up the inside, that turns into the outside for the next corner, makes it stick, holds it, cuts to the inside. There we go. Daubigny up into 4th place. He is a French man on a mission. 3 cars ahead of him before we see a double race win. We didn't see it last time out, but we'd love to see it now. For the overall victory, a double win would be quite something.
It's honestly why he said he has, how much was it again? 41 kilos of ballast?
It was somewhere in the 40s, yeah. I'm just checking my notes right now for how much ballast. Of course, it's a success ballast. For his previous race results, it is 48 kilos. My notes provided.
Still so fast. He's just going through the field, even with having such a huge disadvantage. That's, wow, that's generational talent there.
Of course, he won both races. Oh, we see Just Mank going off there into the gravel, not their day today. Maybe we'll see them back out next time with improved form. But yeah, Xavi now having a look. Can they get past Tom of Gridfinder? On-board shot here. Well, not quite on-board, just started off-board, but never mind that. Through the fast right, hold it, hold it, hold it. Just kiss the curb, hold it, run wide, run wide. Don't go too wide. Little wheel dipped off the curb, that'll be all right. No speed lost. Up over the top of the hill, past the Marshall post on the left. Brake hard, looking up the inside there. Xavi looking up the inside of Tom, but can't the move done as we cut back to trackside cameras for these views here. Excellent camera work here from our production team. Xavi just having a little look, nosing up the inside, can't quite make it work.
Yeah, not quite making it work as he now makes it work. Sees the inside line, takes it side by side through. They'll go side by side, and it's great moves as there is a bump now from Tom and Xavi. I feel like Xavi will now let him pass, but it will not last long as these two drivers will now spark an intense race between each other. Xavi still very, very close. He'll try to get the slipstream off Tom. Now going onto the straight between turn number 9 and turn number 10. Over the hill, he will try to inside. He doesn't even sell the dummy. Tom just stays in the middle of the track. Like, that's the best defending tactic in touring Corsa. In any series, it messes up your line quite. My microphone's falling, I'm sorry.
Just holding the line there, Xavi having a look up the inside, holding it side by side down the big long straight. This is line is going to go Tom's way as we hit onto the brakes, but can he make a move on the outside? Late on the brakes, holds it, holds it, holds it. Can he get round the corner? Tom coming back off the inside. That move is they're side by side. I should have kept my tone and my voice higher there. They're coming down towards the penultimate corner and onto the final, well, onto the straight now. We are well over halfway through this race and there is chaos. Daubigny setting the fastest lap on his chase down for the podium. Xavi chasing down Tom. They are nearly perfectly side by side, coming down, 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 up into the top gear, and then braking hard. There we go. A little bit later from Xavi. There's contact.
What was that from Tom?
Xavi is off into the gravel. Move there from Tom on the brakes. Not very safe, but never mind. Xavi's race is basically over there. Perkins will take the free overtake to put the back up into 11th after their poor start.
That almost seemed intentional, I would say.
It definitely was not the kindest move there. We see Bent now in 9th, just chasing Calava in up ahead. Obviously, Bent made mistakes earlier. He'd be running a lot higher right now. The gap's staying level now as we see there's only one under a second, which is the one we're focusing on, as is how you should be focusing on races. Bent behind Calavala for 8th and 9th place. Bent, like I said, crash earlier on this race, did decently well in the first one, scoring points, not quite the points they were hoping for though. Now as we come round this fast right, well, medium speed right hand that gets tighter as we go around. Yeah, not a lot is going on right now. Everyone's sort of settled down. We've only got 7 minutes left to go. I say settled down, it's still absolute chaos, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, seems like Daubigny is looking for a move for the podium as just Manning or take story there. But yeah, definitely looking what Ryan, the Frenchman, can do here, as he's very close to Maitland. Did Maitland do some kind of funny stuff that now he's so close to Daubigny, or is Daubigny that fast?
I think that's just Daubigny pace. You know, he set the fast lap of the race last time round. He's still basically running qualifying laps in terms of pace. Maybe he's found even more. Maybe some setup changes have gone on. Maybe he's just more comfortable and running wide there into the last corner, opening the door for Dauphiné. You've got to be careful not to get contact. Wouldn't want to lose all those points that he's working so hard to keep. So far has won three class wins out of 3 races. Now he's going to try and look for a 4th race. I've no idea who he's fighting in his class. I can't remember. Josh Woolley sets his new fast lap of the race, but even still, Dauphiné up the inside of Maitland, on the brakes into turn 1 now, about the same time for both of them, but Dauphiné just rolls off the brakes there, keeps the position, well, overtakes the position to get back up into 3rd. His next target is Larson, about 3.5 seconds up the road. Maitland is sick of seeing that Dauphiné car ahead, and it's already back ahead in race 2. He has come from 10th on the grid, remember, this is a reverse grid race. And this is just the sheer pace of that car. We're going to need some more ballast on that car, or this season will be a washout.
Nerve this guy into the ground. Nerve him. Nah. Dauphiné seems to be a powerhouse in the Audi TTs.
Evidently, this is a car that suits his style.
Definitely watch out for him. And okay, so next Assetto Corsa, we are not doing front-wheel drive cars.
Definitely, yeah. If this continues, we'll have to change cars up for the next time we run this game. But for these 8 races, it'll be just done in Audi at various places. We're going to Lime Rock Park next week, a track over in America, a little bit more famous than Slovakia. I mean, it's held other races, I'm sure, but I don't know what. Probably NASCAR, let's be honest, but who cares about that? We've got the Audi TTs to watch. Little twitch there from Tom in the Grid Finder car, behind Camille in the Traxion liveried car. Grid Finder on the timing chart, Traxion on the paint job there. Nearly side by side, coming into the power zone, hard on the power. 6th and 7th, these 2 cars are running, looking, moving, not quite, having a go, thinking about it. Tom in the open class here, so not a student, but very much still welcome if there's space on the grid, which there is. So if you want to join, feel free to have an ask and have a question, have a poke around our Discord, see where you fit in. And we see Tom Bunton, owner of Grid Finder, founder of Grid Finder, behind the Traxion car ahead for 4th, 6th and 7th. We're into for the last 5 minutes of the race. Man, that has flown by.
Yeah, these minutes sometimes feel long, sometimes they feel very short, as the distance is very short between the Grid Finder cars, as Tom doesn't pull anything off, but it's Camille who goes into the gravel. What a shame. And Dauphiné claims another fastest lap. And how is Camille back on track? Wasn't he in the gravel? Well, whatever, it's side-by-side racing now. From turn 14 onto the main straight we go. It's Tom versus Camille. Wait, no, yeah, it's Calavala. Okay, that's why I'm confused. It's Calavala now, who just floats past Camille on the main straight. And that makes sense why I was confused.
Here we go, yeah, 2 positions lost in basically 1 sector, but it runs wide from Calavala, which will allow Camille back through for 7th place. This is a battle for 6th, 7th and 8th. Just a reminder, White is still leading Larson from Dauphiné from Maitland up at the front, but we're focusing right now on Bent and Calavala having a battle. This is Bent's been hit again, snake contact again, running lots of wiggles there, which allows Hughes to come out of absolutely nowhere and steal both positions. Oh, and then he gets smacked immediately gets hit for it. Bent not having the cleanest of races, let's just say it like that. Hughes, Bent, Calavala all getting into a bit of a kerfuffle there over the hill and then down into the hard right-hand corner. Here we're focusing on Hughes going up the inside of Bent for 9th and 10th. There's a lot of contact, which if these cars have got damage, that will affect how they handle, but we can only find that out by, well, watching and seeing if they have a crash because of it. This is the battle for 9th and 10th now. All these cars are very, very close. And look behind, it's Perkins. She had a shocker of an opening start to the race, getting punted off into the gravel, basically after 1 corner. Really not going to be a happy woman, but she's closing up now on the back of Bent, so she must be happy with her pace, because she is by far quicker than these cars ahead to come from so far back, and Story has disconnected from the race. That is day over for him. Perkins in 11th.
I see a Grim Reaper. His name is Ryan Dauphiné.
Absolutely.
Lumen up behind Larson. As I say Lumen up behind Larson, I mean he's on his gearbox, on his exhaust fumes. Dauphiné comes out of nowhere. The Grim Reaper, now your official nickname, you have a black car, you are the Grim Reaper, stands behind Larson. And where did he come from? Where did he go? He's still in the 3rd position and will now attack for 2nd. Dauphiné versus Larson, the Australian versus the French. And seems like Daubigny just has so much more overspeed. Is it just a slipstream, or is it pure skill over the hill? Now into turn number 2, Daubigny has the inside line. It's all flat out, and he gains second position just like that. Can Larson maybe do something about it into the turn number 3? Over the hill, once again Daubigny will now set up to defense the inside line. But still, you can overtake round outside. A lot of cars have done it for now, but seems like Larson is not one of them. Actually, where did he come from? Like, come on. How fast are you, man?
Has got so much pace despite all of that ballast. Not the most ballast car, that is the car in number in position 5 of Josh Worley, but I'm sure that will be changed for next race. You're going to have pretty much an entire small elephant in his passenger seat if he carries on like this, just to make it fair. 1.8 is the second, well, 1.8 second gap. I'm now 1.7 as I say it. 1 minute to go, but of course this is a 20-minute plus 1 lap race. So White, looking in his mirrors, will now see a different car, plus 1 lap, that is correct. Not 1 minute, that will be largely pointless. Daubigny up to down to 1.6 the gap now, 40 seconds on the clock. Will they get round for 2 more laps? We'll have to wait and see as they get towards the end of this one. 1.5 seconds the gap. White is going to be bricking it and getting ready for the defence of their day. This is going to be the most important battle probably of the entire weekend, to see if Daubigny can go back-to-back wins despite the reverse grid.
And seems like Perkins is getting closer to Tom, if I'm correct. No, I'm not. Well, yeah, to Camille now, and just goes up the inside line. Perkins, a very good move around Camille into turn number 10, and it's Hughes who's very close to Kalevala as well. And where is Tom? Yeah, Tom is 6th, so good to know that great final cars are very close to each other, as Hughes now has the inside line for turn number 13, I'm sorry. Will he try some funny stuff? Well, no, he just sends up the inside like a man he does. And Hughes now overtakes Kalevala like no one's there.
Absolutely.
Just goes
easy,
through.
Relatively easy move for Hughes to get it up to P7 as they come across the line. We see on the timing charts now 2 laps to go. White has got a 1.2 second and dropping advantage for 2 laps. I mean, we never thought it, well, there was always a thought in the back of our mind that it might be Daubigny. We didn't think it would be this clear that he is a contender for race winning and very easily the championship. Not in the student class, I believe, but that's, yes, in the alumni class for Daubigny. Won both races last time out. Tom Bunton of Gridfinder coming in 2nd, and then Chris Story in 3rd in both races in Anglesey. Chris Story is out now, so we're going to see a new podium finisher in that class with their black banners there, which I think symbolises the open class, sorry. Completely getting my colours mixed up. My eyes don't work. We've already established that this stream, but Daubigny is now well under a second behind White, half a second back. Where's the move going to come? Is it going to come into one of the hairpins, or is it just going to be a straight slipstream pass down the main straight? We're going to have to wait to see. 0.4 the gap, now down into the 0.3s. He is breathing down White's neck. He has got to know that car is there, coming over the brow of the hill, down to 2.2 of a second gap. There's a look on the inside. There's a move from White to defend. Lovely defending there from White. They both made their move, and White held the inside line coming round the tight corner. Daubigny practically pushing White round the track, looking, thinking, where can I get the move done? Flashing the lights when he wants. Having a go. Here he goes over the brow of the hill. Side by side they go, very nearly. Just behind. Going to have the outside line coming down into the next braking zone.
Into the next braking zone we go. Daubigny versus White. There we go. Into turn number 15. The penultimate corner we go. Daubigny versus White. White on the inside line. Daubigny goes round outside. Will he stick it there? Seems like he will. Still side by side now into turn 14. He has the inside line onto the main straight as well. It's still side by side with these two guys. Daubigny now claims first position, but they are very close to each other. The front axles are technically in line. Going into turn number 1, White has the inside line. Even for turn 2, depends on how he has it. Defending in the middle line. Daubigny has the better outlap for them. Now it's still side by side. From turn number 1, tries to sell the dummy. Daubigny on the outside. No, once again behind White. And now side by side into turn number 2. And seems like he doesn't know where to make the move. White is having to defend. He is defending like a lion. Into turn number 3, Daubigny has the inside line. He's ready for the defense. Now, it's the only way is round the outside or last for light breakers. Daubigny tries it. No. Still, White is there. An immovable wall versus an immovable object. White and Daubigny both contact. Larson goes through. A little bit too much pushing from Daubigny, and it loses him, well, almost 2 positions, I want to say. Seems like Larson is now the target for the Frenchman. But will we actually see an overtake here, or will we not? Since we know Larson is a pretty quick driver, but seems like Daubigny is quick as well. Now he sends it up the inside with no issue as well, but the switchback is real. And Larson still maintains his 2nd position in the turn number 9. I'm sorry. Talking too much.
No, it's okay. It's a very close racing here. Daubigny obviously getting pushed out by White there. I'm sure they'll be looking at that in some important stewards-esque room with some important rules that I don't have access or understanding of. Here we go. The fights are very much on track though for 2nd and 3rd. It's touring car racing. There's going to be bumps and scratches. Guys, get over it. Here we go, Daubigny and Larson over the hill towards the end of the lap. White has got to be clear for the lead here, but we cannot guarantee that until the car crosses the line. Side by side for Daubigny and Larson. Daubigny going further and further ahead. Larson on the inside line. Can Daubigny sweep round the inside? Sorry, sweep round the outside. There's contact again, and Daubigny goes off, pushed wide. There we go. That is that's a defence. It was very brutal defending there. Daubigny losing 2 places to 2 separate little bumps on the outside as White crosses the line to take your 2nd race victory. Larson ahead of Daubigny, a disappointing 3rd for him. Maitland in 4th, Woolley 5th, and here we have Tom in that
contact between Perkins and who is that? Perkins and Hughes. So some contact in at the penultimate turn there, but it's Perkins. He comes out on top. Tom from grid finder 6, Perkins 7th, Hughes 8th, Camille after a straight on pole finishes 9th, Ashavi 10th. A pretty good race from this driver. Kalevala, not the cleanest, but definitely not the dirtiest, and 11th tonight in the 2nd race. Bent 10 seconds behind Kalevala, and Kenjaku being 34 seconds behind him. He's in no man's land at this point. He finishes 12th in the 2nd race as we are waiting for Kenjaku the pass. What a battle that was. Larson definitely pushed him out though. I'm talking about Larson versus Daubigny.
I'm sure they'll be looking at that after the race, and the drivers will definitely have a very valid opinion on it. Whether they actually make a change or not will depend on what the in and out of the rules are. I'm sure if that happens, we'll hear about it soon enough to report it back to you. But yes, Kenjak coming over the line now to finish the race. Just a couple more cars to go. Now, these guys obviously have all had little rough races. They've either had contact or just not found the setup, the pace, or had the time to practice around these circuits. If you think you'd be too slow, just remember there are other people out there who will also not have the time to practice, not be experienced. You can come and race. There will be someone for you to race, no matter who they are.
Yeah, there's always some racing to see here. And we are getting the interviews from our class winners. So White, Aiden, and who else? Both race penalties. Dan, you want too much.
I don't know. I mean, I've just sent a message to the series leader to see if we can get if there are going to be penalties. I'd like to know if those moves were allowed or not. We'll have to find out later on. We've got some drivers in the waiting room who are going to come and join us very shortly. All of them are, well, they're all class winners, of course, 3 different classes here. So if we want to have the first driver coming in very soon, I think we will speak to, well, our race winner from just a second ago, White. We will have White first, if that is okay with you. We'll interview about the race we just saw.
That's fine.
Oh,
hello there, White.
Good evening. How are we?
We're absolutely astounded by the quality of racing we just saw. How was that for you?
Yeah, a bit cutthroat out there. But I think good racing overall. There were some interesting things with the Serpent strategy. Some drivers out there had absolutely mega pace today that was hard to keep in front of, and obviously some incidents occurred because of that.
So are you I'm assuming you're happy with the overall race win, but do you see yourself continuing this form into future races, or is that very much a fluke win you only got because of how cutthroat the racing was?
I think I do well with the traffic and all the incidents, and that track I really didn't bond with. I think next week we're at Lime Rock. Fantastic track. Can't wait to see what happens there, but very good track for me as well. One that I've driven lots of, so hopefully a good result next week. But I'm just interested in how good the racing is going to be there, because it's going to be epic.
That's good to hear. So have you done much? I'm assuming you know Lime Rock quite well and you're reasonably practiced there. Are you going to do a lot of work before next week, try and continue this winning streak?
So yeah, it's not really in terms of the tracks. Obviously, as you just said, I've done quite a lot of laps there on different sims, but with this car being front wheel drive, it's very setup based. So you have to get the setup dialed in if you want to be competitive. So the work really has to be done with the setup, not necessarily learning the track. But yeah, I think it's going to be very close. Obviously, a very short track next week. Should be below 1 minute lap times. So very close grid we'll have.
Yep. Well, I wanted to ask you about the racing into second race. What did you feel when you saw the Bidney behind you? What was the feeling like, and what are you thinking in your head?
So I've never raced against him, but he gains times in sections that I can't even fathom. So when you're defending from someone like that, you have to know where you're weak. And for me, against him, that really felt like sector 1, and then into sector 2. Sector 3 felt good for me, but yeah, through sector 1 and sector 2, I really had to make sure I was covering any move. And yeah, he put the car in the right place. It just ended not in a great way, to be honest.
So you would compare it a little bit to the David versus Goliath battle.
yeah, you could say that. I mean, it's weird for me because I'm not used to someone catching me that quickly. So when you see someone obviously come through the relative, gaining, I think it was over 2 seconds a lap at one point, yeah, you really question your abilities and how they're gaining that time. But props to him for that race pace. It was mega.
Well, Dan, do you have more questions or?
No, I think we're going to go and interview Aidan Larson next, our student class winner. Thank you very much, White, for your time.
Perfect.
Thanks
Thank
a lot,
you.
mate.
Bye.
Well, we can track Aidan in. Hello, Aidan.
Good evening.
Some good racing tonight.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. First race I kind of bottled it, but second was okay.
What happened in the first race? You went into the gravel, well,
Yeah.
on your own from what we saw. So what happened there?
Yep. Those medium tyres are a no-go on that track. They started to fall off so hard. Honestly, taking this completely, like the same line I'd taken every other lap. And the tyres just, yeah, you know, they kind of just came out and spoke to me and they said, no, we're not doing that. Off you go. So yeah, and it turns out that's purely the case because the hards in the next race are unbelievably good. Like they honestly, no speed difference, but the longevity is a huge increase.
Yeah, it's a Kunos car. It's unpredictable at some parts, but it's very well done. It's a good car.
No, can't complain about the car. I mean, they are good fun to drive, so not stressing out about that.
How was that last couple of laps there where you were fighting Dobbing? Were you aware that he was catching you, or was it very much a, oh my gosh, there's an Audi behind me kind of moment?
Oh, no, I was watching him on the leaderboard that entire time. Every single time we went past that finish line, I'd see like an extra second out of my time. I'd be, oh, bugger. Okay, he's got me. There's no doubt about that. Feel a little bit bad at the end. I did accidentally bump him off in the last corner, so I don't know how the race for position would have gone because we were side by side. You never know. I could have still taken it, but I think he would have had it. But he's just got crazy pace. Don't know where it comes from because, I mean, granted, I didn't do tons and tons of practice for this, but I still did more than average. So, EG's just, he understands these cars clearly.
And do you think that this track was one that suits you, or are you looking forward to the shorter Lime Rock we've got next week?
Well, I'm a huge fan of Lime Rock, so very much looking forward to that. But I don't know, I quite enjoyed the Slovak Ring here. It really wasn't that bad. Some kind of freaky corners where you got double apexes and all that rubbish, but otherwise, good track.
Excellent. Thank you very much for your time and congratulations on your class victories.
No worries. Thank you very much.
I think we'll have Josh Woolley next, if that's okay, broadcast team. Let's interview him. Hello, Mr. Woolley.
Hello.
Hello.
So, of course, a race of mixed fortunes for you there. We saw you having some offs, but also making some very good moves. What was it like from your perspective?
Yeah, it was an interesting race. Qualifying was let's try and actually do a lap without putting it in the gravel or invalidating, which almost didn't go well. But yeah, the second race was a bit of a pain. I was very, very safe on the start, and it kind of meant I was last coming out of turn one, which isn't the greatest idea. But made some moves. People imploded. People put it in the gravel, so somehow got back to P5, I think it was. So yeah, all in all, a good race. Wasn't expecting to be this far forward, to be honest.
How do you like the track?
It's okay. It's good for racing. It meant that there was some chaos. It's just very hard to judge a breaking point when there's nothing really to judge it off. And you're 4 wide into turn 1 or 5 wide or whatever it was. They were 5 wide into turn 1 trying to judge a breaking point.
4 wide in
impossible.
race 2.
Yes. It just makes judging a breaking point not fun. But it's a good track overall. Good fun.
And are you looking forward to Lime Rock next weekend? A lot tighter track, and as other drivers have mentioned in previous interviews, one that a little bit better than the relatively unknown Slovakia Ring. So are you going to put some time into it on the next Monday, kind of get ready for the race?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to put some practice into it. I don't know the track particularly well because I haven't driven other racing games that have it on it. But I also hear that the ballast is quite detrimental there compared to here, which we could kind of go around. So not looking forward to my 60 or 70 kilos of ballast. But yeah, hopefully we can be in the fight.
Yeah, well, wish you the very best of luck for that as we now come to the end of that interview. I'm not sure we're going to get more of the drivers in, so I think that's probably the end of our broadcast and the end of round 2. Anything last to add there from you, Spitzlam?
No, it's been amazing. Great races tonight, great drivers, great overtakes. It's Slovakia Ring delivered.
Yes, it absolutely did. Now, I'm sure we'll have an excellent team on here next week. I won't be here, but I'm sure Spitzlam, you're going to be here next week for Lime Rock?
Potentially, depends if the team chooses me again.
Well, someone will be here. We'll find out later on. I mean, if you have any more interviews, we can stick them in the group now before we close it up. We might as well speak to everybody that we can before we go. But yes, if you wish to join us before the next race, then come and find us on GridFinder and join in. That is it. So we've just heard that we're not getting any more interviews. So thank you for joining us. We will see you next time out in Lime Rock Park for round 3 of the BUSR AC Series. Thank you and good night.
See you.
There is no place and no moment in history where I could stand and say, British begins here, now.